Now, this is a very, very exciting interview. Every week we mastermind with top agents from around the United States and North America. And on this particular video, my business partner, Pat Hayes, is interviewing Sheila Fejeran. And she has built a revenue share organization within eXp Realty of over 9,000 agents, or almost 9,000 agents. Pretty incredible. Either way, she's going to be sharing her story, what she was doing before real estate, how she was on the hamster wheel selling thousands of REO transactions, and what her business looks like today and the impact that eXp Realty has really had on her business. But not only that, you, the agent, the impact that eXp Realty could have on your business over time. So I really hope you enjoy this video. If you have team members that would benefit from this, be sure to share this. If you're looking at eXp Realty for the first time, you're going to find a lot of passionate people that are willing to help you out. But you're going to be inspired by Sheila's story, because I know I am completely inspired by Sheila's story. So I hope you enjoy the interview.
So I want to introduce our special guest here real quick, guys. Take note. This is going to be amazing. Put your foot down, or put your phone down here. So our special guest is Sheila Fejeran. Sheila was the managing broker and VP of a boutique brokerage firm and had built it up to 12 offices in 4 states with 15 REO contracts in the HUD contract. Sheila and her team of 40 agents sold over 6,000 homes together over the course of 7 years. After joining eXp, Sheila ran a team and was personally selling 100 homes a year. Last year, Sheila moved to a full-time focus on agent attraction and supporting her RevShare team, which includes our favorite superstar, Brent Gove. Sheila has been at eXp for 4.5 years and has a team of almost 9,000 agents all across the world. So without further ado, let's all welcome my good friend, Sheila Fejeran. Welcome, Sheila. Welcome to the call. How are you?
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. Oh my gosh. I love you guys. You and Ian are like 2 of my favorite people in the whole company. You guys are so amazing.
Well, thank you. Well, that's why we do this call. And, we always have a special guest. And, it was funny. I was talking to Angel, my wife, the other day, and I was like, you know what? Who should my special guest be this Friday on the Mastermind? And she says, you know what? You haven't had a female agent on there. And I think your next female agent should be Sheila. I said, oh my gosh. As soon as she said that, I sent you that text message that night. It was late at night. We were still working in the office. I said, I would love to have Sheila share her story. Guys, I've heard Sheila's story. It's absolutely amazing. And she's one of the best motivational speakers. She's one of the best public speakers. And her story is so inspiring, guys. We talk about picking up the phone and making that one phone call that could potentially change your life. She did that exact same thing. And I want her to kind of share the story. So Sheila, I've got a few questions here real quick.
Sure.
I've got 5 questions or whatever. And then, we'll go to the top of the hour. So we got about 45 minutes or so. I'll get through my questions and then we'll kind of turn it over to the audience, and then they can kind of ask you some questions as well too. But, tell us about yourself in your real estate career.
Well, I was a late bloomer because I originally started out, I did double major in radio, TV, and speech. And I worked for radio stations in the Midwest and in New York City, and did that for about a decade before I was recruited by a pharmaceutical company as a startup to kind of run their sales department. And I did that for almost a decade. And that's what moved me to Texas. I had built a company up. I was an owner in the company. I ran the sales department, and then we built it up and sold it. So that's how I ended up in Texas. And then at that point, I'm like, now what do I do? So I had always loved real estate. I used to draw houses when I was a little girl. I literally remember in elementary school sketching houses, designing houses. So I don't know how I didn't become an architect, but somebody said, you need to go into real estate. So I wound up working for a guy named Jerry Jones. You may have heard of him. He owns the Cowboys. So I worked for his company starting out, getting to know the business, and then went to work for a big national builder, David Weekley Homes, and used to run his custom classics. So I would design 10,000 square foot homes for like the CEOs of companies, and then work with the builder to help build them. And then about a decade ago, I decided to move into the residential side of it over here, and started running a company in Plano, and helped him build that up. And then when I met Rob Flick at actually Champion School of Real Estate, I was updating my broker's license. And I just literally almost fell off my chair when I saw him do the presentation. I'm like, okay, we got to talk. So that's been pretty much it. It's been a wild, fun ride.
Wow, no, that's amazing. We all know Rob Flick is just an amazing superstar, and obviously, if it wasn't for Elizabeth Riley and Gene Frederick and Rob Flick, a lot of us wouldn't be here.
Exactly.
Rob's he's a superstar. I mean, he's an amazing individual, and so we all know that picking up the phone is sometimes hard. Whenever you want to call that that big monster, that big whale that's been very successful in the industry. So walk us through, take us kind of through the whole entire story. For those of you who don't know who Brent Gove is, he's a monster team leader up in Sacramento, California. Been very successful for over 25 plus years up there. Was with Remax, with Keller Williams, and then if it wasn't for Sheila picking up the phone and making that one phone call to Brent Gove, a lot of us probably wouldn't be here as well too, because he's got a massive revenue share organization. But Sheila, kind of walk everybody through how you met Brent. I know the whole story about you inviting him to the webinar, and but just kind of share the whole entire story, how you did this, because this is what we want. We want to get the fear out of these agents, because they're scared to pick up the phone and call that big monster whale in their market, or their big monster whale that they've done a deal with or whatnot. And so we want to try and help these agents say, it's not that hard to pick up the phone, because that one phone call changed your life. That one phone call changed your life. I mean, Brent Gove has completely changed your life. And I'm not sure if you're in Dallas right now or if you're in Puerto Rico, but the reason why Sheila has a house in Puerto Rico is because she picked up the phone and called Brent Gove, right? So Sheila, take us all back. Walk us through from the beginning to the end about how you met Brent, and how the story plays out.
Sure. So when I met with Rob, when I saw Rob do the presentation, I don't know what you guys thought when you first saw the presentation, but what popped in my head was 50 states, because at the time I was running a HUD brokerage, a REO brokerage. And so I had a lot of contracts and we were doing a lot of houses, but as you know, it's the hamster wheel, right? It's just burn, 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 burn. And I saw the market changing and how Wall Street was buying houses in the bundles and the billions. And I said, we got to make a shift or else, we're going to be out of business. So when I saw Rob do the presentation, what really popped in my head was that if I could leverage myself not across 4 states, but across 50 states, then even if the market crashed, I should be okay. That if California's doing bad, New York's going to be okay. If Texas is doing bad, Florida's going to be okay. I mean, normally the whole country doesn't just collapse at the same time. You see pockets. So that's honestly what went in my head. So what I started doing is I made a list of every single mega agent I knew, I had ever worked with, I had ever come in contact with, I had ever met at a real estate conference, every single person I ever had a business card. I pulled all my old business cards out. And one of them was Brent Gove. And I hadn't seen him in 3 years. And I met him at a real estate conference. He was a speaker. I didn't even know him. And he's so funny, Brent's hilarious. So I went up to him afterwards and introduced myself, and we exchanged business cards, and I literally never spoke to him again until the day I called. And I'm one of those people, I believe that things happen for a reason. And he and I always talk about how it was a God thing, because Brent never answers his phone. Brent has a gatekeeper, James, who happened, it was a fluke. He was out at what's that famous golf tournament that, I don't know what it's called. The famous golf tournament that all the guys go to. I'm not a golfer. Anyway, James was at that.
Yeah.
PGA. Yeah. So it just was weird that James wasn't there answering the phone, and Brent actually picked up the phone.
Wow.
And all I said to him was, hey, Brent, it's Sheila Fejeran. I don't know if you remember me, but we met at such and such a conference. And so it wasn't a cold lead. It was a warm lead. We had met before. And he's like, no, I'm so sorry. I don't remember you. And I'm like, no worries. And I knew he wasn't going to remember me. I said, if you don't mind, I just want to ask you a quick question. I'm with a company that is just coming out, and it's really just a new technology in the industry. And it's going to change the way we do our business. And I was wondering if you'd take a look at it. That was it. because back then people hadn't heard about eXp. Right. So I really used the word technology company, because if I had said eXp, they'd say EX who? And he said yes. And it took me another month because he went on his 25th wedding anniversary trip with his wife, Kathy. And when the day I called him for our appointment, he picked up the phone and he said, I said, hey, are you able to jump on the webinar? And he said, well, oh, shoot, I forgot about it. I'm at Starbucks. And I said, okay, no worries. I said, how far are you away from the office? He said, 5 minutes. He said, I can call you back then. I said, don't worry about it. I'll stay on the phone with you. Talk while you drive, and then when you get in, I'll be able to help you get on the webinar. And back then, Pat, if you remember, we didn't have Zoom.
Right.
We had GoToMeeting. We didn't really have Zoom back then. We had Skype and GoToMeeting. So we got on a GoToMeeting, and I ran the computer, and then Rob did the talking. And halfway through, Brent literally stood up. He said, I don't even believe I'm saying this, but I'm standing up to say, I actually think I'm leaving Keller Williams.
Wow.
So that was it.
Wow. Absolutely amazing right there, guys. One phone call, just one phone call right there. One phone call. And what did she do? She followed back up, right? Followed back up. That was it. That was it. All right. So now kind of walk us through, obviously, I've been here for 6 years. You guys have been here for about 4.5, almost 5 years. What have you and Brent built together? How big is your organization? What have been the wins? What have been the challenges? How did you guys build it together? Obviously you guys didn't really have a tight relationship right off the bat, but now you guys do, because he's absolutely changed your life. And Brent is just the biggest teddy bear ever. If you guys don't know him, you need to be around this guy, because this guy is just infectious. His energy, unbelievable, right? Unbelievable. So kind of share with us how you guys have been able to build such an awesome relationship over the last 4.5, almost 5 years.
Brent is one of those guys. Once you know him, he's all in. There is no halfway with Brent. So literally from day one. So what happened was, we were getting ready to have our conference in San Antonio.
Yep.
And so it was like a week later, he booked a flight for him and a couple of his guys to come down and talk to all the leadership and meet everybody so that they could check us out. And what he started doing is making calls to all of the top guys he knew around the country. And what he would say to them is, hey, buddy, I need you to take a look at something. I'm getting ready to do something really crazy and jump off a bridge, and I need you to tell me if I'm crazy or not. So he got us to do webinars with all of his friends, one of them being Jeff Willems, one of them being Marguerite Crispello, one of them being, the list goes on of all these people that are here now because Brent did a webinar with them before he even joined the company to see what they thought. And he said, I need you to poke holes in this and tell me if I'm crazy. So that's what he did. And he wore us out, man. We were doing 8 to 10 webinars a day, wow, 7 days a week for him. Wow. It was just on fire for probably the first 2 to 3 months. And again, I was a functioning agent at that point. I'm like, listen, guys, we gotta go back to work
this year, period.
Oops.
Oh, let's see. Oh, David, can you mute yourself? Sorry about that, Sheila. Okay, go ahead.
That's okay. So basically I said, listen, I'm going to create a series. And at that point, Pat, I think you remember, I created that whole webinar series and all the pre-recorded webinars, and 24 hours a day, you could watch a video. And I set all this stuff up because I'm like, I got to go sell houses.
Right. Right.
So that's kind of how it started. And we just kind of went from there.
That is amazing. So tell the audience here. So how many agents have you personally sponsored, and how big is your organization, as of today?
So I personally sponsored over 100. I have about 60 left because, attrition, people come and go.
Yep.
I have 9,000 agents on my team worldwide.
Wow. Absolutely amazing. That's incredible. Well, congratulations to you. And, kind of share your success that, now, you're making unbelievable money. I know you're successful in real estate. You've been successful with really anything that you've done. But now the revenue share is just growing exponentially, and you're making an unbelievable amount of money. And so, you actually had to move to Puerto Rico. Kind of share that story about, I know you donate a lot of money to charities, and you're very big into that, and the church and all that stuff, and you actually own a house now in Puerto Rico. Kind of share with the audience, why you did that, and how much fun you're having there in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, it's Gene's always thinking. So Gene and I were sitting at an eXp conference in 2018. It was the shareholders. We're at a dinner table. AJ was there.
Huh?
And we started talking about tax savings. Because as you start making so much, you start thinking, holy mackerel, how in the world can I save the money instead of having to give so much back to the government?
Right.
Or, legally, how can I do this? And so one of the conversations that came up with Gene was Puerto Rico. And I said, I'm in. All you have to do is tell me when, and I'm there. I'm going. So he said, I'm going down in a couple months. Let me go check it out. And as soon as I do, I will give you a call. And literally when he did, he moved that day. When he went down to check it out, they made a decision right then to move. And he called me, and I booked my flight. And I was down there as quick as I could get there as well, because basically the tax break for me is the difference between a 42% tax bracket, and I only pay 4% in tax now.
Wow. Unbelievable.
And no capital gains.
Unbelievable right there. That's amazing. And congratulations to you. And so now you bought is it a condo or a house there in Puerto Rico?
I have a big house, but I bought it before COVID. It was a 4-story house, 5 bedrooms.
Oh my. Oh my goodness. Oh, that is awesome. And so you travel back and forth still, right? So it's a month here, a month there, a month there. You just kind of go back and forth. Is that what it is?
Yeah, you have to spend 190 days there.
Gotcha.
And then I spend whatever's left in Texas or anywhere. I'm allowed to go other places in the world, but I spend at least 190 days down there.
Wow, that's amazing. Hey, that's a good problem to have, right?
It's fun. We have like a little eXp village now. I mean, there've been like 15 eXp people moved to our one neighborhood.
Yep, I love it. I know Scott Lewis and Gene Frederick, they keep on
Scott's
inviting.
My neighbor.
Yep.
Scott's my neighbor.
Oh, that is awesome. Yeah, and I can't wait to come and visit. Well, no, that's amazing. And so I've got a few more questions. And so share with us some of your goals. What goals does Sheila have? I know you probably have a vision board, and you got your wealth chart, all that good stuff. What are some of your goals? I know you're making incredible money right now. You've got an incredible life. You've got an awesome house in Dallas, and awesome house in Puerto Rico, and you give back to the charities that you're involved with. What are some of your other goals?
Really, my biggest thing is helping the people I bring in. Yeah. So I have been this past year working with a couple different tech companies to build a lead gen system to give leads to agents to help them build sustainable businesses. Because the truth is, as we all know, the industry is changing a lot. So I've been investing a lot in the technology to help procure the business for the agents that are in my team. Yep. I purchased a training platform, became a national training platform coach, brought all the coaches together to help make sure we're training everybody up as much as possible. And just really, how can I invest back in the people that have blessed me and have invested in me? That's really where I spend most of my time. That's awesome. Because if I can help, it's no different than the whole concept of eXp. We help lift each other up, and then we all win together. I love that about eXp. That's my favorite part. Love it.
No, that's awesome. And so, what are some of your favorite books or podcasts? I know you probably, you like to educate yourself and learn about a lot of new things. So what are some of your favorite books, or favorite podcasts that you like to listen to?
Well, I'm really into, and you might think I'm crazy, but I'm really into now the whole cryptocurrency. Oh, so yeah. I'm doing a lot of the Rich Dad Poor Dad and a lot of the stuff with that. I have a guy in my organization that literally stays up all night long trading around the world. Wow. So he was just a solo agent that came on board with me, and now he's a master in cryptocurrency. So I've been learning a lot about that, just trying to, again, learn how to leverage and learn how to, how do you keep the wealth that you've been given so that you can bless other people and give to other people. Right. I support, geez, I support probably 10 projects around the world, just with the money I donate and just trying to help people, because it's not about keeping everything. I believe that we're given what we're given to be a blessing to other people. We're blessed, and then we're meant to be a blessing. And so I'm always looking at whether it's the single mom here that needs help, or whether it's the family that lost their job, or whether it's an organization I can support. So that's what makes me happy, is just, you know.
I love it. I love your passion, and I love your amazing story. So I've got one last question here, then we'll turn it over to the audience here. I know we've got a lot of agents texting me saying, I've got a question for Sheila. I've got a question for Sheila. So my last question here is, of course, we've got a lot of successful agents. We've got a lot of new agents here, on the call as well, too. And that's why we do this, for one, to help them, be successful in the real estate career, in the real estate business, which I know you've been very successful at. And of course, we love the revenue share, but obviously if there's no revenue coming in from the houses that we're selling, there's no revenue to be shared. And so, my last question is, what's one thing you can share to help a new realtor be successful? I get that question asked to me all the time. Hey, what's one thing that I can do, to be successful as a realtor, right? And so I know what I would say, but what would you give back to help a new realtor be successful, starting out their career in real estate?
I would say the most important thing is be all in.
Yeah.
Because what I see a lot of people do is they're distracted. They're distracted by the shiny object. They're distracted by the training. They're distracted by their own personal life. They're distracted by their own mindset. Henry Ford, that old quote, he says, whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right.
Burn the
really.
boat.
You what?
Burn the boats.
Burn the boats, baby.
This story I told one time, Ian asked me to tell it back in Dallas again when I spoke that time. But it's really about, we are our own worst enemies in every area of our life, whether we're being successful or not successful, whether our relationships are good or not, whether we're healthy or not. Really, everything comes down to, what is your perception? What is your belief? What is your framework that you're operating out of? So you've got to get over yourself. You got to get over your negative thinking or stinking thinking. You've got to get over your past abuse. You got to get over your past insecurities or shame or fear or guilt or whatever it is, whatever it is that's entangling you. Really, you got to figure out, what is it going to take for me to be free so I can run full force towards my goal and my destiny and my desire and where I choose to be in my life? Because you really do choose your life. You choose your relationships. You choose how healthy you want to be. You choose your life. So I would say the biggest thing is, for new agents, is you are now a CEO of a company. If you're a new agent, you are now, overnight, you're a CEO. So since you're a CEO, act like it. Act like you're a CEO. Give it all. Burn the boats. Go all in. There's no going back. If you're going to do this thing, do this thing. Do it with every, how do you learn to lead generate? How do you learn systems? How do you learn script training? How do you learn to master the basics so that you can be successful? Because there's enough business for everybody. Really, we are in an amazing time in our world that we can all be successful. Your success is not taking away from someone else's success. We can all be successful. So that's what I would say.
Amen. Love it. I love your energy. I love this. This is awesome. And this is a great way to start out a Friday. And this is amazing, Sheila. I love being around you. And you just always have a smile on your face. And your story is just absolutely incredible. And I just wanted to say, I just love you, and just, thank you so much for everything that you do. So let's open it up. Who's got a question for Sheila? Don't be shy. Let's go ahead. Take it away. Who's got a first question?
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Jordan. What's up, buddy?
Yeah, first off, thank you, Pat, and also Sheila, for being here, for doing this. I love your mindset, Sheila. It's amazing. And my question is, when you're calling these agents, how do you go from this being like a friendly hello into like transitioning towards like the pitch for eXp and like, you know, making that organic?
It depends on it depends on the situation. So if it's a person that you've been doing a transaction with, I mean, you gotta think nobody, I don't care who you are, no one likes a sleazy salesman. No one. We all just are like, get away from me. So just don't be that person. So just be authentic, be yourself, and say, hey, Jordan, you know, I've so enjoyed working with you. You are just such an amazing agent, and you have just been such a professional during this transaction. I would love to talk to you about something that we offer at eXp, how we partner together and help each other work together to be more successful. Would that be something that you would be interested in talking about or open to?
Love it.
Dude, thank you so much.
So simple. Yeah, so simple right there. So simple. All right, who's got another question for Sheila?
Hey, Sheila, I was wondering, you know, the times have changed. So if you were to do the same thing today in today's world and the way the world is today, would there be anything else that you would do different or a different approach that you might have?
I guess I would take a completely different approach from the perspective that I don't say at all about the technology thing anymore, because eXp is big enough that people have at least heard of us if they have any skin in the game in real estate. They've either heard us on Inman or Glassdoor or somewhere. They've heard about us somewhere. So typically what I do is, again, depending on if I'm meeting the person cold or if I'm in a transaction through one of my referral agents or somehow talking with them. But really my whole thing is, are you open to taking a look? I make it very casual, because the truth is, Gene Frederick, we got to love Gene. Gene always says, you cannot make someone's gate be open.
Right.
If their gate isn't open, if they're not open-minded, if they're not interested, if they're not willing to consider the opportunity, then honestly, the only thing you can do is what Ian talked about, is stay friends with them.
Yep.
So I just brought on a guy this past week who the #1 luxury agent in Boston with Sotheby's.
Wow.
We've been friends for almost 4 years. Ian, I'm right with you. We used to coach together, and I just stayed friends with him because he was not open at the time. And it's one of those things where it is a timing thing, but it's not a timing thing for you. It's a timing thing for them. Just like Pat. I mean, we know Pat's story. He met with Scott Lewis and said no, and then went home that night and his broker was going to be out of business. So it was a timing thing. Pat had to make a move, just like the guy Ian talked about. I think it was Ian or Pat shared that they said, I'm starting to look at brokers now. So it is a timing thing. So all you have to do is open your mouth and invite. That's it. That's all you have to do, because the opportunity isn't about you. The opportunity is about them, and is about what eXp offers, and is about the benefits that they can get here that they may not be getting there. And the truth is, you don't know until you start having a conversation with people. I love what Ian was saying in the beginning. I'm assuming, based on what he said, that you guys have been doing DISC personality profile training, right? I am really into that stuff. I used to be a corporate trainer in the media business when I worked in the media business, and I did a lot of DISC stuff in the corporate world. So that's one of the #1 things that my team does, is I profile people. So I usually, before I ever get on a presentation with them, and somebody else said this too about the calls, I do all of my presentations live. I do not send a video to anyone. It may take me longer to grow. My growth may be slower, but I meet every single person that I recruit personally. So normally what I do is I have a couple other people that work in my organization, in my office full time for me, that they make the front calls and they do the front profiling, and they find out who's open and who's willing. And then they put me on a meeting with them. If they're a mega agent or broker or someone like that, they'll convert the people who are solo agents, but anybody who's a mega or a big producer, they get me on the webinars with. So that's how we do it.
Awesome. Love the process. And then let's see, I'm reading the group chat here real quick. And so Jason Cox said, I need help with recruiting commercial agents. Any advice? What do you think?
Sure.
What do you think about commercial?
Commercial's a little different. Just because we haven't, we're still in muddy waters. I mean, yeah, we're released, but we're still kind of on our sea legs. So one of the big things I do with commercial guys, because I had presented to one of the biggest commercial guys in Dallas, actually, and was looking to do a special deal with him. And they just weren't willing to move. He was open, but he had a whole staff. They weren't willing to move. So commercial guys, again, are a little different. It would be the opportunity. You would use it from the perspective of what we did when we first started, is that you have an opportunity to be the first in. Like any big company, you look at Facebook when it started, Google when it started, Dell Computer when it started, you hear these stories about how, these guys are like gazillionaires now.
Like first mover advantage, right?
Yeah, exactly, first mover advantage. So you would want to say, listen, we just released commercial in whatever state you're in, Texas, this month or last month or whenever it was, whoever you're talking to and whatever state they're in, and say, would you rather be the first guy in and get the opportunity to have everybody come under you? Or would you rather be the last guy in and then lose the potential opportunity? Are you going to be the first guy in? Are you that kind of guy? And depending on what their personality profile is, would be what would determine me saying that to them. Because if that's a D, guess what, man? He's going in today. Depends on how aggressive they are and how competitive they are, whether they're going to want to be that person.
Got it. Thank you so much, Sheila.
Yeah, good. Yeah, great question, Jason. And then Sheila, so I'm reading the group chat here again, and this is a good question here too. I'm kind of curious as well. Let's see. They're saying, I'm curious how you trained your assistant.
Which assistant? My actual transaction assistant or my assistant in recruiting? I have multiple.
Yeah, Melanie. Yeah, go ahead and open up your mic and ask Sheila your question there. Good question.
Thanks so much. Really inspiring. You said you have an assistant for, the smaller agents that recruits them. So yeah, does she follow a script, she or he, or has they just been with you for a long time and they know the eXp model as well as we do?
I spent a month nonstop training that person before I ever released them onto the phone. And then when I released them, they did meetings with me. And so we would get off the calls. And then when I started hearing them do calls, I would actually do training with them, change this word, do this. And it took a good year for me to really get that person running full speed where they can actually, I don't have to even get on a call anymore. They're that good. But I have 2 people doing that for agent attraction. And then I have 3 assistants on the real estate side.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Wow. That is awesome right there. All right. Who's got another question for Sheila? Don't be shy.
I got one, Sheila. Hey, thank you. Anthony Duzette, New Orleans, Louisiana. And Sheila, you're an inspiration to all of us. It's amazing. Thank you for sharing all this. Question for you. I built a pretty good downline. I feel as if I'm a decent leader. And I'll tell you, one of my struggles with this is getting the agents in my downline to really, I guess, want it like I do, if that's a fair enough question. And
yep.
I have a few people who are very interested, but my downline, like you said, Brent Gove, I mean, we all know him and love him to death. And you said he's all in. And that's where I'm kind of struggling. The agents that I have are amazing people, but I don't know if they're not believing themselves. So I'm just kind of looking for maybe a couple of pointers as a leader of a downline. What can we do to help inspire, motivate, lead, train these agents that we brought into the company?
That's a great question. Actually, thank you for asking that. And the truth is, what matters is them. Your vision for them doesn't matter. What matters is their vision for themselves. So let me use this as an example, if I can use a couple of you. Let's say Jordan's in my downline, and he is a solo agent, new agent starting out his business, trying to learn the business, and he just wants to sell homes. It is not in his best interest for me to try to shove agent attraction down his throat. What's in his best interest is for me to mastermind with him, teach him, train him, give him leads, help him get his KV core up and running, and do everything I can to invest in him for his success based on where he is and what he wants right now. Then when you find an agent like Pat Hayes, who's been a big agent, been around a long time, crushing it, totally is like, okay, I'm done selling houses, I'm ready to do something else. Those guys are what I call your 10%ers, because strategically, Rob, Gene, me, Brent, and I'm sure Pat can say this as well, is that you usually only have 10% of your entire line that you personally invite that is even going to try to invite. Right. It might even be 5%, but really statistically, most of us are saying it's about 10%. So if you have 40 agents on your first line, probably 4 of them will be interested in agent attraction. So what are you doing for the other 36 would be my question. And I can tell you and be vulnerable with you, that was my mistake at first. Because in the beginning, I was so busy running and gunning with Brent that I was still bringing people on. But what I realized is that I wasn't taking care of them. So I did have attrition in the beginning because I wasn't taking care of that person where they are. I was trying to get everybody else to be like Brent Gove. But that wasn't best for them. So I would say meet with each person. I actually do a mastermind with every single person I personally invite quarterly. I go through their entire business. I go through what they need. I go through what will help them build what they want. I go through their sales. I go through their recruiting. I go through their training. I go through every single part of their business to see how I can serve them, because it's about them. So I hope that answers your question. I would just say care more about their goals than about your goals. Because the truth is, you're already a beast. If you're building what you're saying, just go find those other Pat Hayeses, and then just take care of those people that you've brought on, because that's one of the biggest things. In our influencer group, people are chatting and texting about the people leaving eXp. Do you know why people are leaving eXp? Because we're not taking care of them.
Correct.
If you are going to sponsor someone, your job becomes sort of broker in charge. If you got to look at yourself, if you're going to sponsor someone, they become your baby. You are responsible for them. What can you do to help them be successful in eXp at what they want to be successful at? And then you will find your 10%ers. Believe me, look at Pat Hayes, man. The cream will rise. Those people that want it are going to rise. Jay Kinder calls it their generals. Look in your downline to find those generals, those people who aggressively want to recruit. And then spend your time, a portion of your time, with the people helping build their sales and helping them do what they need to do to take care of them. And then spend your other portion of your time with your generals building the downline.
Love it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Sheila. Blessed to be in business with you.
Thank you.
Well said. Well said. Love it. Love it. All right. Who's got another question for Sheila?
I have a quick question.
Go ahead.
It's Kylie. I'm a brand new agent. Well, I'm not brand new, but I've done a couple transactions. But do you think that it would be best to get some more real estate under and get a little bit more experience before I start bringing on agents so I can take care of them?
Okay, Kylie, I'm going to be honest with you here. My nature, okay, I'm a high D personality, but I'm a very high I. People just see the D because that's my business mindset. But really, in my heart of hearts, who I am in my nature and at home by myself, I'm an I. I love to love people. I love to be with people. I love to hang out with people. And my nature is insecure. My nature is to compare myself to other people and think I got to be like them or else I can't do this. So the biggest thing I could say to you is no. You don't have to sell one home to invite someone. What you have to do is care enough about that other person to open your mouth to give them the opportunity that you've been blessed with.
Okay, thank you.
Look at Wilco. I don't know if you've had Wilco on here, but Wilco was a soccer coach, never sold a home in his life. He has like 1,000 people in his downline now.
Right.
Vincent St. Louis actually never sold a home either. He's under Brent in California. He brought on all of Africa.
Amazing.
Never sold a home. So no, Kylie, it is just, you just gotta say, I'm choosing to do this. This is something I'm going to put as a part of my business that the agents I talk to, I'm going to invite, or I'm going to set time aside every week to call agents in my market that I want to be friends with and get to know. You could either have coffees with people to just get to know people, and you could even be honest with people and say, hey, listen, I'm a newer agent and I really have been watching you and I respect you. Would you be willing to go to coffee with me? I'd love to pick your brain. You know how many agents would do that in a heartbeat?
Yeah.
So good luck.
That is awesome. And real quick, Melanie, I just saw your chat in the group chat. Share that with everybody about what you just said.
I said that I'm a brand new agent and I've never sold a home, and I have 7 people on my first line already. Wow.
Congratulations. There you go. Anybody can do it. Anybody can do it. That is awesome.
Yeah, you gotta want it bad enough.
That's right, exactly. How bad do you want it? Ask yourself, how bad do you want it? Guys, anybody can do it, yeah. You don't have to be a Brent Gove and sell $150 million a year in production to start attracting agents. You can be a brand new agent. Guys, I got a life-changing phone call, right? So now I'm able to reciprocate that and give other agents life-changing phone calls, right? You know, I had 2 years of real estate sales experience whenever I joined eXp. I wasn't a big I wasn't a big name. Right? I wasn't a big Brent Gove, you know, guys, if I can do it, anybody can do it, right? You don't have to be a huge producer to share eXp, right? We've all made the decision to be at the best brokerage firm a realtor can be at, and that's eXp. So bless other people.
Yes.
Right? If they're not with eXp, they need to hear eXp, right? You could change their life, right? Sheila's life has been changed. My life has been changed. A lot of other agents on the call, their life has been changed with the eXp opportunity. Right? So if you're not sharing it, you need to. And don't be scared, right? Don't be scared. Just like what Sheila said. She gave that one phone call to Brent Gove. And that one phone call truly changed her life. Absolutely unbelievable, right?
So
right,
let me add one quick thing for anybody on here who's scared. Okay? Let me say this. You can either choose to make the call and change their life and your life, or you could choose not to make the call, stay in your fear, and stay the same way you are right now. So which are you going to choose to do? Are you going to choose to pick up the phone? And because Brent always says, let go of your ego. I say, let go of your fear. Yeah. Let go of your fear, let go of your shame, let go of your insecurity, let go of your guilt, let go of your comparison, your self-judgment, whatever it is, let it go. Because you are blessed with this opportunity. Be a blessing to someone else.
Amen. Well said. That's fire right there, guys. Fire. All right, guys, we got time for about 1 or 2 more questions, and then we'll hop over to leadership. Who's got another question for Sheila?
I have one.
Go ahead, Chris.
Hey, Sheila, thanks so much for being on the call. You're always an inspiration every time I hear you. So appreciate you you blessing us with your wisdom and experience here. Hey, so obviously you built up an incredible life so far based on what you've done with eXp. What keeps you motivated to get up every morning and keep on building and growing the team and leading the team? You know, a lot of some people check out.
And people. Yeah, I've seen that. I've got a couple of big guys in my group that they're making, $4 4 or 5 million a year, and they're done. They said, I'm retiring now. So I guess to me, I look at it like I said before, that I made a commitment to people. If I invited you, I made a commitment to you.
Right.
And I'm not going to just say, oh, okay, I make too much money, I'm done. I don't care about you anymore. I made a commitment to you. So I'm in this for the long haul for you because I committed to you. So that's what gets me up. People texted me saying, I have an agent I need you to talk to, or I need help figuring out how to get out of this legal trouble I got myself into messing up this deal or whatever. And so for me, that is a motivator that I want to be true to my word, that when I made a commitment to bring you into this company, that I said I was going to be here for you. So that's why.
That's awesome.
Well, that's great. Thank you so much.
That's amazing. That's a true leader right there, Sheila. You're an absolutely amazing leader. Well, guys, I guess let's open up for one last question here. We've got about
a question.
4 minutes. Yeah, Robert, go ahead.
Hey, Sheila, thanks so much for being on. You're truly an inspiration. I tell you what, I'm very, very blessed to have met you. My question is, my goals are very, very ambitious in terms of personal production. I'm very inspired about growing my team, internal team, but I'm also want to build my revenue share to match that of yours and Pat's and the others before me. What kind of advice would you give me for balancing those three very time intense projects?
So Rob Flick said one day, he said, what do you focus on in your business? And I said, I focus on listings. He said, okay. He said, so you would say, it's fair to say that you list houses for a living, right? And I said, yep, that's exactly what I do. And he said, okay. He said, I want you to think about this. He said, I list agents for a living. He said, when you finish selling that one house that you listed, what do you get from that? He said, when I list an agent, it is year after year, generation after generation. He said, so which do you choose to do now? Do you choose to list houses or do you choose to list agents? So that was a game changer for me because I had never been a recruiter in my life. I mean, it took me a really long time to actually feel comfortable doing it, to be honest with you, because again, that whole people pleaser, I personality in me, I hate conflict. I really hate conflict. So it just took a long time and a mind shift for me to say, this is for them. This is a gift. This is an opportunity. This is truly life-changing. And that's what helped me get over the fear and the insecurity and all those things to be able to pick up the phone. And I believe that, like attracts like. Ian was talking about the guy that he brought in that, he's the kind of guy that we want in our organization. The truth is, people will be attracted to you because of who you are. You are an attractive person in the way you present yourself, in the way you show up, in the way you give. And that will attract those kind of people. So I ran my team for probably the first 3 years at eXp. And I was pulling my hair out. I was selling 100 homes a year by myself, just myself. Jeez. And then I had a team. So it was nuts. And then I was trying to attract and help Brent and help all these people. So honestly, the happiest day of my life is the day I let my team go. What I ended up doing is saying to them, I'm not officially running a team, but what I'm going to do for you is be a referral agent. So I still had all the leads coming in from all the systems I had built over 20 years. And so now all I do is send the leads out and they pay a referral fee. I'm no longer running an official team, but I did 7 million last year in referrals. Wow. So you can still build a good income just by referrals without actually focusing on it as a team lead. That again, that's your choice, because again, your time is limited. Time is money, right? How much is your time worth? I don't know if you've ever taken the time to calculate that or not, but how much is your time worth? How much How much time are you spending on listing appointments? How much time are you spending on buyer's appointments? And this is not for the newer agents. This is for the bigger agents, the older agents, the people who've been around forever, the people with teams. That's who I'm talking to right now. But think about the blessing you could be. Instead of having 10 agents on your team and giving business to, you could have 50 or 100 agents on your team that you're referring business to, and you're not showing any of those houses yourself. How much more of a blessing could you be to them? And how much more of a blessing would it be to you? So it's just a mind shift of all of us who've been in the business 20 years. We have this narrow-minded, we got to do it this way. And it's kind of just breaking the mold and saying, no, it doesn't have to be this way. Oh, shoot. I got another meeting I got to go to, guys. It's so nice to see everybody and meet everybody. Thank you so much for having me on here. I appreciate you all.
Sheila, thank you.
Sheila.
Inspiring.
Thanks,
Thank you, Sheila. Have a good weekend.